that I've prepared. I did a little sketch, which is what you saw on my advert, and I'm using my new products, my Faber Castell Pitt pens, for what we're doing today. This was all done in pencils. So I've used the same kind of face, and to make a fashion, more glamorous face, if we were doing sort of modelling and stuff, I've done the oval as normal, and then there's the dip here, which I've talked about several times, which makes the face more mature. And then I've also done a second dip here and here. So I've used my rubber sort of just to try and get it even. Then I've drawn my line across the middle, which gives me the positioning of my eyes. And then halfway between that line and the chin line is my nose line. And halfway between that and the chin line is my mouth line. So that's where all my guidelines are. Now, when we do whimsical faces, we only do 3 ovals here, but actual eyes are a lot smaller than whimsical eyes. So we divide it by 5 equal spaces to find our spacing for our eyes. So then I draw in the tear duct and our rough eye shape. And if you remember, the eyeball should sit not in its entirety in the socket. It should sit in the socket, obviously, but I put it deliberately outside because you shouldn't be able to see the whole circle, and then I can rub it out. Got you on big TV. Right, well, this is really like sound advice, because if you divide it all up as I've just done, the cross down the middle, halfway down again, halfway down again, split it in 2, that's your exact proportions of an average face. Now obviously you can make the nose smaller, wider, the mouth can be smaller, wider, deeper, but that's where you put them and you can't really go wrong. And then once you've got your 2 in place, we can remove the 2 that, now you can see they look considerably smaller than how we've done our whimsical faces, but that's okay, that is more proportionately correct. We tend to do, now in reality, necks are here to here, sort of the side of the mouth. We've got quite chunky necks as human beings, but they don't look very aesthetically pleasing. So I've made them thinner. And then we've got, at the moment, a rough guideline of eyebrows to be worked on. So, and what I've got here is the hair. So this is obviously the outside of my oval, and a lot of people make the mistake of putting the hair, sitting it on top of the oval, which then obviously makes the eyes way too low down, or they try to move the eyes up and then it all gets out of proportion. So hair has volume, so we should be going under the oval, at least a quarter, of a face going under, whether she's got a fringe or not, and it should sit up and over the oval as well, and that's what gives us the volume. So I've chosen a parting, so you can choose the parting wherever it is, and it's coming under that oval and up and over it. So now I can remove the outer oval because it's fulfilled what it's supposed to do. Okay, so now we've got a face that's looking really quite proportionate. So what I've done at the top, yellow and purple, I've used my Jane Davenport crayons, a yellow one, and I've literally just scribbled. I'm going to use a little bit of water to just smudge those in a bit. And today I am painting on some mixed media paper. This is a mixed media pad. I just wanted to do it slightly bigger for you guys so that you could see it. It's quite decent quality paper. So I'm just going to get some water. This is just water to activate. This is obviously only the first layer, and I can let it dry while we crack on with the right. So that's, thank you Diane for sharing. I'm just going to dab it with my shot cloth just to take off the excess so I don't smudge it everywhere. I just want to get some colour chucked in there. So I'm still using my pencil at this moment to just, I'm going to rub out my guidelines now. I hope you can always rewind. You will notice the last thing that I haven't explained is this cheekbone. Glamerous, that's really the makeup that you would see on a fashion model. Comes in a lot more thorough at that point. So I think we're okay. The drawing's in there. So I'm going to start off with this is some colouring pencils. They're not water activated or anything like that. They're just face pencils, and they're what I used on my original drawing. So they're going to be my first layer. And then I will seal it off, and then I'll show you the magic of the Pitt pens, because they really are. So we're just systematically going around the face, all the way around the edge. And we're going to build it up in layers. So I've started with a yellow. A lot of people don't think that the skin tone has yellow in, but we do have quite a lot of yellow in us, and I've got quite a lot of yellow in the background, so that's going to go quite well. Try not to jiggle this camera around too much because I'm drawing on the same bit of wood that it's attached to. Okay, so we've gone around quite roughly in yellow, and I'm kind of used the side of the pencil more than sort of straight down. I've now got, I'm going to use this, a slight pinky one. It's like a dusky pink. Let's sort of, at the moment I'm not trying to get any accurate, I'm just trying to sort of fill some colour in the spaces. These pencils are great because they're specifically for portraits. So they're giving me my face starting point. Okay. See how quickly that is done. Now I've got a kind of coral. And now obviously we want these eyes to pop. So I'm going to leave the centre bit lighter, and I'll probably go in with the paint Posca pen at the end just to do some highlights there, but we're going to work on as if we're putting a makeup on either side, applying it over the lid like so, and then we're almost into that sort of high blusher. She's been in under the sunbed. She's a fashion model. She goes out, she parties, she's got a life. She does stuff we don't do, girls. So I'm just going back over those cheekbones. Let's put some coral in her lips. I will just show you the mouth. Look, done a little sketch here to show you how to do a mouth. So there's a square, cross even, and then there's 4 circles. And the circles kind of represent that puffy bit on your lips. So they give you the shape. So there's the circle there and there, and there and there. So then you can draw a tip there and join up your mouth. And obviously that can be shorter, but it gives you a good sort of starting point. And then all your lines should be in the direction of those circles. And that's what makes it look like those lips are full and pouty. So I hope that's helpful. So at the moment I'm only putting base colours in here. We will be going into the mouth more detail. But as always, you should sort of be shading. I know I'm looking very sort of rough in my shading, but I am shading in the direction of the shadows of the face, so that it's going to all, can you see when I'm doing the eyes, I'm doing it round. It's all going to contribute and add to the look of glamour and the look of the 3D that we want. It's going to make it look like it pops. So my last colour is, I've got 2 browns actually, 2 colours here. So we start highlighting. Hi Anna. And I'm just now I'm not gonna, I have put ears in very there. That's just to show you the positioning, but probably the hair is going to obliterate them. So you could just carry on exactly the same way that I am, using just colouring pencils to finish glamouring up your girl, and you would get something. I've obviously gone in with some black ink, but that's all that is pencil and colouring pencils. So there's no reason why you couldn't achieve a perfectly lovely picture just using colouring pencils. But I got these new toys and I haven't used them as much as I would like because my son is staying with us and he's in my hot room and I have to keep dismantling my table. So I've got the opportunity today, so I'm going to get them out. I'll show you them, they look gorgeous. Right, the other thing that I did last night on in the club was make some a stencil using hot glue, which is quite cool. So I'm going to just sort of cover her face up with paper, and before I go on to the next layer, I've mixed up some Calypso and Parissa. I'm just going to try spraying through it. I haven't actually, it's a little bit squirty. It's not the best spray actually. Never mind. I'll have to, I didn't try the spray before I did it, I just mixed it. It's going to be too spray. So I'm going to, good job I put a bit of, it's good purple though, isn't it? Calypso and Parissa. That's okay. I could do it with a stencil brush. Okay, let me just dry that off. Right, let's just go in a bit more with these purples. Hi Louise. I'm going to put some purple in her hair, why not? So these are those Jane Davenport marker crayons again. They smudge really well. Can you see? Like that. It's not a bad first base. Now what I'm going to do before we go on to deal with my new toy is give it all a coat of matte finish to seal in, and this is what I recommend you do if you're doing one of these drawings and using lots of different mediums, is that when you get it to a point that you like, that you seal it in with Mod Podge. In this case I'm using matte finish, but this way all the work that I've done underneath can't be touched. As you can see, it is slightly activating those crayon markers, so I've got to be a bit careful I don't go over the face with that. That's because the Jane Davenport markers do activate with water or fluid, so we've got to be mindful of that. So I'm going to clean my brush off before I go over the face. So I'm going to avoid the purple and just tap in that there. I think we're all right. There we go. Quick dry. That should be it with the drying now. Now this is my new toy. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, they look so gorgeous. I don't even want to put them in a separate, trying to open them. There we go. In a separate pencil case. This is called the Autumn set, and they're called Pitt pens. And I'm just going to go in. Now, these are like, you can use them for colouring. So I've used them for, let me show you. This is what they look like if you just, I know it's a bit of a crazy picture, but that is Pitt pens underneath, and then I've gone a bit mad with Poscas and ink and stuff over the top. But they come out like felt tips, good decent felt tips. But if you use them on sealed work like what I've just done, you've got a little window, because they're shiny, or the surface is shiny and sealed, to smudge them. Look at that. So you can do some really decent blending with them. And if you get a colour coordinated set as I have, and I kind of chose them knowing I would be doing faces with them, they're all juicy. They're like the best felt tips you ever had, you know, like when you used to have felt Crayola felt tips when you were young, and they only really felt good when you used them for the first picture, and then they started not working, and the ones at school never worked properly, and you used to dip them in water or lick the end of them to try and activate a bit more colour out of them, and then you used to finally take the innards out of them and sort of use that round squishy bit inside to try and get some last bit of juice out of them. Or was that just me? I so did that. So now we're starting to get some decent shading, and I've started with a sort of orangey colour. That's better. You can see how much smudgeability I've got if I go in quick. let's get some of the juicy lips. Top lip is, by rule, normally darker. You can see I'm still trying to sort of do those lines. We'll get some dark in the bottom. Now you can make her expressionless and leave her lip dead straight, or just a little tiny line just alters it to a indifferent smile. So you can play with your mouth and try out some new expressions with that cross that I showed you. A bit more glamorous now. Some dark brown in these eyes, and it's going to be these eyes obviously that are gonna suddenly bring her to life. And she's got this is that crease that's going to be exaggerated for a model because of all her lovely makeup. And here, now if you have got big fat fingers like me, you could use a Q-tip, like a cotton bud. Her eyes are starting to come to life, but I'm still very much wanting to emphasize this blend. Now this pen, what I'm doing here only works if you've sealed it first. Otherwise it just comes out like normal felt tip. You see she's started to look proper glamorous now. Sorry, not the camera. So I've completely avoided a nose, no any particular reason. So just use it's usually a shadow under the nose. I'm going to go in with some slightly lighter colours around the nose because I don't know why I've avoided it. I haven't done that deliberately. There's often a kind of white highlight here, and it's the shadows usually define the nose more than actual lines. So all these colours just go together so well. I'm just sort of starting with the lighter colours and working my way up really. Quite a lot of orange. A bit. And obviously you have that dip there as well. There is usually a dark line under the mouth. And then we've got some shading going on down here to really pop out that tall, thin neck that we've lied about, because it's really not that thin. Go look at yourself in the mirror. You'll be shocked how wide-necked you are. But this feels like that would be your shade. So I can even use it on the hair. So we'll keep at it, because we're starting to like hit what I call the ugly stage. She's not ugly, but it's not working yet. And you're like, something's not right. Oh, it's gone wrong. And all I say to you guys is stick with it. Just keep. Because we've got the doodling phase to go yet, and that's my favourite phase. It starts to pop out all the hard prep that you've done here. Starts to pay off. If you're new, welcome to Faber Castell Pitt, my page. I'm here every Thursday. I'm also on my YouTube channel every Monday, so tune in. If you feel able to share the feed to your page, to some group that you think might appreciate it, that would be really appreciative. Now I'm thinking her forehead is too white at the moment, so I'm going in I decided deliberately today really not to. Usually I've prepped the backgrounds before I've seen you on these lives. But I thought I might just try the other way around. Start with white and just see how I build the background up afterwards. I don't know if that will work or not, but there's no reason why it shouldn't. And sometimes you just want to crack on with the girl, don't you? You don't want to be farting around with backgrounds, and if you've got a good girl in front of you, you then feel more motivated to finish it off and do a decent background. Right, let's get some. I've got this gorgeous green in this set. I'm going to do her some green eyes. Oh, look at that. I'm not even going to smudge this, I'm just going to leave that lovely green. Now to tie it in, it's not a bad idea to put some of the colour. If you've got a different colour somewhere, just use it somewhere else too, and then it seems to pull the picture together. Doesn't matter that she's got a bit of green in her hair, or I mean she's got purple in her hair, for goodness sake, so you already know it's wrong. She's a fashion model. She can do whatever she likes. But by putting the green in, it makes sense of her eyes too. And it makes sense that usually, like when you dress up a fashion model, you would dress her up in clothes that would complement and bring out the green in her eyes, wouldn't you? If you had eyes that colour, you'd want to show them off. Well, I would. See, now the green looks cool. It is, it suddenly makes it the right. And I'm really just doing shapes on her hair, not strands. I'm just doing shapes and then using my finger. I have got slightly lighter green in the same set. And what I'm going to do is, because eyes should have a shadow here underneath where the eyelashes are that we haven't put in yet, because that will create a natural shadow. So I'm putting that right across the top and a little bit in the bottom. She's going to be a mysterious girl. But don't forget that shadow, because again, that's what, it's these little details, where to put the highlights. This little shadow on the eyes just makes a massive difference as soon as we get into the details in the eyes. You will see. So I'm just, again, same as before, just adding a bit of those colours that I've used. She could even have a little bit of this green in her makeup, couldn't she? That wouldn't look wrong. I think at this point we should be thinking makeup. You know, she's had all her foundation and she's got a bit of blusher going on there. She's looking quite glam. I think her lips aren't looking juicy enough. The pens are called Faber Castell Pitt pens, and they really do come across as really decent quality felt tips. But because I've sealed off my picture with some matte varnish, you could use Mod Podge if that's what you've got. The matte varnish has left a kind of shiny, slightly, you can't even really see it anymore. But what it does is it opens up the time that you can use these Pitt pens, the felt tip, to be able to smudge and blend them, basically. Absolutely magic. I don't know if you could do that with normal felt tips, but these feel like quality. They really feel. Yeah, this whole set, I think there's 12 in a set, was about £30, so not particularly cheap. So buy colours you want. You can buy lots and lots of colours, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be saving up for and sort of buying in sets as you go along. You can get greys and blacks, but I'm really loving this open time that they give. Again, I'm sort of putting a bit of all the colours in to the hair, ties it in. And if she's, you know, she's under the camera light, why wouldn't her face be reflected into the picture? So okay. Hi Julie. She is a glamour lady, and I've achieved that by those dips there and a dip there and then this makeup line here. And if you think about it, that's not that illogical. You would put high blusher on. So I'm going in with a black pen now. This is my fine liner. Oh, we're going to sort out these eyes. And so she's got this. I'm not going to worry about the little white dot at this time, because we'll go in with a Pitt pen. I'm going to do outline, and then I'm going to do just some tiny little lines coming out from the centre of her eye. I'll do the same with the other one. Now this is part of the reason why I've done it on a slightly bigger paper than normal, because I'm normally doing it in my book, just because when it's slightly bigger, it's easier to get in with the details, and you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. Okay, so my shadow that I drew earlier is still there. There's the little tear duct thingy, and so as we would imagine, a supermodel would have thick eyelashes going on. So I'm going to do, you know, an extra line here on the top, which would be our sort of stem of our eyelashes and or the eyeliner that no doubt we would be wearing. Before I go into the eyelashes, I think you can see she's already just a little bit of black. I'm going to move just a little bit there. Bit of a broken line, don't really want that solid. Bit of black into the eyelashes. I'm going to do the eyebrows even. I'm going to do the eyelashes last because they always pop. Let's do a little bit. And this is less is more. Once you're into the black and the white, if you look at any picture as a reference picture, you will see that there's probably only half a dozen spots on the whole picture that are truly black. So stick to that, because if you do too much, you kill it. Less is more. So I'm giving her a little bit of an opening here, a little bit of black. She's a bit pouty. Okay, and I'm going to, again, not do all of it, but I'm going to use the black, like I did with the eyes, to just do those little lines that reflect the roundness of the lips, if you can see that. Okay, there she goes. I think you'll agree, as soon as you start, just this tiny bit of black. There's always shadow around the hairline. That's where the hair falls. It's a tiny bit of black, and she's poof. So this is my fine black, and I'm going to go in with a thicker Posca pen black as well, but I think there's a place for both. It's nice to have different depths of pen, different widths, I think. Okay, so let's go in with the eyelashes. Now, she's going to have big eyelashes, isn't she? So here we are. Now again, the thing to remember with eyelashes is that they're going to go out all the way until you get to the top, and then it's going to go up. And I could fill that in, little few spidery bits as you would have, and then it should go back out the other way. Okay, and the same with what's going on underneath. They only go out. Sometimes they cross over a bit. I like that too, but by the time you get to the middle, it should go down. And then back out the other way. Now, this helps to give us that natural round look as well. So then I've got to go in and do the other side. And I don't mind that they are a little bit spidery. I think that's quite natural. And make sure that that top one goes out and back up. I'll show you in a minute. There you go. And now she's got slightly eyes to die for. Hi Sharon. Hi Maxine. thank you for joining me. Now, I am loving those eyes now. She's proper. She's owning that. I've yet to go in with my white. I want to do a bit more around that nose. Oh, these are just so yummy, these pens. I can't begin to tell you. Gonna have to get yourself some. So if I go in with my white Posca pen, now I'm going to do the eyes. So whatever you do to one, you should do to the other. Because you don't want her looking cross-eyed. So suddenly she looks amazing. I am going to do one line straight down and dab it because she's in the camera light. Now, do you remember we were trying to keep this area a little bit glam spot, a little bit light, because we're imagining that the light is shining straight on her. She's having a photograph taken. So I'm going to add a bit of my Posca to that area. Just tone it down a little bit. There we go. And she's going to have that bit there. She's also going to have these lovely highlights on her lips. She's got glossy lipstick on today. And she's likely to have this little highlight on her cheek. You know, this is all about the makeup. Okay, so now time to put some of those white areas into the hair. I love this stage, look at it. I don't know about you, but when I'm drawing, I could start off feeling, I was a bit grouchy today, and now I feel myself chilling into my chill place. It's a joy to have something that's completely drug-free and addiction-free, but it isn't addiction-free, it is an addiction, but it's like a really good addiction. It's better than all those other things. Alright, I have got some of my waist sequin waist, that's the word. I'm going to stencil some, get some colour going on in it. So let's have a go. This is about what I said about let's sort the background out afterwards, and once you've got a picture that you're pleased enough with, you kind of feel like happy enough to go the extra mile for some background. I'm trying to do it fairly randomly. We could stamp it, we can do all sorts now. We're playing. That hair probably needs now to come back into it a bit. I wish I had a paint. I wonder if it would work. I wish I had a paint this green colour, this gorgeous green colour. But I wonder if I could just... It's worth trying it. See what that looks like. Not bad. I'll wait for some of it to dry before I can do too much. I'm going to do some stamping on it, I think. Let me just get my stamp. Some whirligig stuff. I like the whirligig one. I call it a whirligig. Let's have a go. This looks like that. Let's see what that looks like. Stays on. Because it stays on. Oh, Shaz, thank you. So, let's have a go. I got these stencils on Amazon if anyone wants them. They weren't expensive. Quite like that. I can't have that looking like... It's all about the placement, isn't it? Because otherwise it looks silly if you've got them all evenly. So I think I'll have a build up this side. Yeah, we'll have one in there. What else have I got in my stamp collection? I've got some... These might be cool. I've got this sort of bubbly one. I don't know what it's going to come out like. I'm sorry about the jigging camera. It is because it's all on the tail. I need to attach it to something separate, I think. Future reference. Right, so here's my bubbly. Let's put it in there. Give it a good squidge. Yeah, I quite like that. That looks good. Can you see that? And have a bit of that here. Yay! This is mixed media, guys. This is chucking it all on and just hoping for the best. But I like. So, I'm not going to go more crazy. I quite like that. But I do want to go in with my darkest black Posca now, which is the fat paint pen, because remember we used the thin one. And as you can see, it is stronger. So it's going to give us our final defining marks before we go, and I can get to go kind of over some of these stamps that we've put on, so it looks all part of it, I think. You should only really go in with these marker pens once you've fully dried off your surface underneath. That's one, because you'll get a much better mark, but two, it saves your pens from getting clogged up and ruined with paint. So I've been a bit naughty there because I didn't dry off the white. You can see I've got a little bit of white on my pen now. I've got to remember this isn't a smudgeable one. Tempting to try and smudge it after all the smudging I've been doing. So this is where the dark would be, is underneath around the neck. And I hope you like her. I think she looks great. I like the purple and the green. They've worked quite well together. Tiny bit of black just in those 6 places I talked about. She is my glam girl for this week. I'm quite liking her. Let's just change that bit of her chin, that's a little bit annoying. And I'm going to just do that last line carefully. There. And a little bit there on her mouth to turn it up. And that bit there. And there you have Miss Glam Girl, ready to party. And that little line again. There she is. I'd go out looking like that, wouldn't you? There we go. That concludes today's. I'm exactly an hour, so that's pretty good timing. Just move the camera up so I can say goodbye to you. Oh, this blooming camera. It's the bane of my life. Oh, I'll just hold it there. So thank you very much for joining me this week. This is what we've concluded. A little bit close up so you can see some of the detail of those stamps. But the blending is just gorgeous with those Pitt pens. I think you'll agree. So, you know, further away, she's looking ready to party. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to see more, tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. And I'm also on my YouTube channel at 2 p.m. On Monday. So you can tune in then and you can watch and learn as I play. Thank you very much.